Hey there! Before we get started, I wanted to give a huge thank you to everyone who was a part of the Sonic Expo 2023 in Dallas, Texas. It was an honor to be a special guest at such an amazing event full of passionate Sonic fans, artists, cosplayers, content creators, musicians like Victor McKnight and Johnny from Crush 40, and of course, the voice actors. I had an absolute blast, a 3D blast if you will, and I cannot wait for the next one. Much love to Phoenix, Jovial Knights, and all the Chaos creators for making history happen. That being said, let's do it to it. Hey everybody, I'm G, welcome to the next level, and it is just a thrill and an honor to finally get a chance to meet the one and only Jason Griffith, voice of Sonic, one of the voices of Sonic the Hedgehog, here at the Sonic Expo here in 2023. Jason, great to meet you.
Thank you, G. Thank you very much.
So great to meet you. So, what are your thoughts on the Expo so far? And I'm assuming like this is not your first time of doing a Sonic-themed style event, or at least maybe a Sega-themed style event. How are things going? What are your favorite things? Second time?
This is the second time. Yeah, I was in Sonic Revolution in Long Beach earlier this year. But you know, I stopped doing conventions for 13 years. Last one I did was with Mike Pollock, Lisa Ortiz, Pete Capella in Dallas, actually, in 2010. And it was such a bust.
Right, I remember that one,
Yeah, it was.
I wanted to go to that one, but I missed out.
Nobody showed up, so you weren't alone in not showing up. And they had live hedgehogs.
All right.
Tupperwares. They would open them up and then let them run around on the table. And we're all standing there like, what are we doing here? But this is amazing. I mean, first of all, the biggest Sonic convention of all time. Like the biggest attended. The Crush 40 concert yesterday.
Amazing.
It's just, there's so many rooms just filled with people, games, vendors, you know, this room, it's wild. And I really, especially since most of the stuff I recorded at Sonic 20 years ago, I never expected to be doing this now, you know? I sort of recorded everything and then it went away for like 2 decades, you know? You get little, you know, bits and pieces of people interested here or there, but I didn't even know there was this whole convention, you know, society really going on, and it's pretty eye-opening, man.
It is, and just to see them, because I've actually been helpful with the Chaos Creators since they first started. In 2018, this one little room in a hotel, like over towards Fort Worth, and just to grow and expand into this, it's been an incredible journey for them. I'm so happy, and of course to bring wonderful people like you here to Texas.
Thank you
so it's like
very much,
heck yeah, awesome. So talking about Sonic now, you did those roles so many years ago. Of course, Sonic Adventure, one of my favorites. One of my absolute favorites. As far as Sonic goes, when you first got the role of Sonic, what went through your mind to determine like, this is the kind of direction that I want to take this character? Like what sort of thoughts went through your mind when you created, this is my Sonic?
Well, the first thought in my mind was, I can't believe I booked this. Because when I went in for I had auditioned a week or so before for a show called Shaman King.
Oh, nice.
And I didn't even get a call back for that. And that, I thought, all right, well, that was fun, but that's that. And then, you know, a week or so later, they called me in for Sonic, and I said, well, how feasible is it going to be that they're going to book me as Sonic if I didn't even get a call back for this other show?
Right.
And then I get the call back, and I auditioned for Chris Thorndike and Sonic, and the producer, Michelle, she said, can you switch those two voices? And so I said, oh, that's weird. I wouldn't have thought that. Oh, but of course. So I did that, left, didn't hear anything. And a couple weeks later, I was working at my agent's office, answering phones, and they called to book me. I answered the phone when they called to book me for Sonic, and I couldn't even tell them it was me. Because they're calling my agency, so I couldn't be like, hey, it's me. They would have been confused.
Right.
Nobody believed me. I spent the entire day trying to convince people, I booked Sonic. No, I booked Sonic. And even my agent said, Jay, stop lying. I was like, okay. But what was going through my head when I was first recording for a very long time was, oh, they're gonna fire me at any moment. Because it was my first big job, and I was young enough and a novice enough to think that direction was criticism. So when they would direct me, I would think to myself, oh, they hate what I'm doing. I have to do it differently. Of course, those sort of things fall away after you've done it long enough and realize, oh, that's what a director's job is, you know, to shape the project. So really what, all that was going through my mind was, I can't believe I'm doing this. I don't want to get fired. And I hope I'm doing a good job. That's really all I was thinking. I was never really thinking, oh, this is my Sonic, or I was just like, whatever they need me to do, I'm gonna try to do my very best. And that also transitioned into, when we did Sonic X, Sonic was a little more nasal like this, and hey Amy. And then by the time we did the video games, Sonic sounded like this. And that was all the producers and directors moving me in that direction, saying we want him to sound cooler, less nasal, less nerdy.
Right.
And so that's how that whole arc happened. So by the time we were doing Sonic Unleashed, Sonic sounded completely different than he sounded in Sonic X.
Right, of course. And it's basically you're the voice of that generation of Sonic. It's like Sonic's going through different generations, and it's always so interesting to hear the stories of how you made it your own for that particular time.
Yeah,
that's wonderful.
I had a cassette recorder. This is how long ago this was. Little handheld cassette recorder. Some were floating out there with a cassette of me practicing different voices to try different voices as Sonic before I went into the audition, because obviously I knew who Sonic the Hedgehog was going in, so I'm like, I really want to do good. And so I remember it had a little, it's so fun, I've never told anyone this, it had a little strap, this recorder, so I hung it up from my shower curtain rod, and so it was hanging right there like a microphone, and I just went through all of these voices into this thing to see, and listen back, which I recommend for any voice actor. Listen back to pick out which voice was the best one for Sonic for that audition.
Okay, perfect. So we were talking earlier in the brunch that we had this morning. We chatted Sega CD.
Yes.
We chatted Sega CD for a little bit. So I'm a huge fan of the Sega Genesis and the Sega CD. It's my favorite console of all time, the Genesis, right? So you grew up in that time you were playing those games too. We talked about Sonic CD. And so Sonic CD is your favorite Sonic? Or
it's Sonic CD and the original Sonic on the Genesis.
Okay, perfect. So what makes those stand out to you the most? Like, why are those your personal favorites?
Nostalgia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, absolutely nostalgia. The feeling of being a kid again, playing those. I don't think I could recapture that feeling as an adult with children and responsibilities, and but there was that magic time in my life when I was like 12, 13 years old, when like Dracula Unleashed and Double Switch and Corpse Killer and all the titles on the Sega CD, getting to play those was just, again, it was like this magic time in my life.
Did you ever play Slam City with Scottie Pippen?
No.
Oh, that.
No, but I know the game. No, I never played it though. Wasn't that you would dunk or whatever, and then like they do a cut scene, right, where someone would like get up in your face and stuff?
It's so hilarious. It has one of my favorite lines in any, because the 90s F&B games of the Sega CD, they always were so cheesy lines. So you would get dunked on, and then these two guys like just chilling in the back, very 90s styles. They look to each other and like, crush them like a walnut, and then sprinkle them on some salad, and then they both stay together, put some dressing on a boy. I'm like,
yes, dude.
Oh. I hate it and I love it.
My cousin and I would film little vignettes like that based on all of those cutscenes.
Really?
So, oh yeah, we have so many hours of videotape of us.
Are they
like
in any capacity?
they're with me.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm sure. Some of them are digital. A very nerdy Jason with my very cool cousin. Just doing our own sort of take on like the full motion video, games.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. So in all of your times of going through conventions, and I'm sure you meet several different fans, people who love your work, people who love Sonic and everything about the whole community of Sonic. What would you say is probably your favorite fan experience that you've had in all this time?
Favorite fan experience? God, I mean, it's so hard to. There's so many categories of that. There's the category of the person who gave me this jewelry. I'm sorry.
Show that off. Show that off to the camera.
Snazzy Sonic
look at that.
gave
Look at
me
the,
this.
Look at the swag on that.
This was a gift at my very first signing event.
Nice.
But then there's the people who tell you how much you changed their life, or how you help them get through like really difficult times in their lives. I had one woman tell me, you know, that if it weren't for my version of Sonic, she would have like committed suicide. And I'm never prepared for that, because how do you respond to that, you know? Right. But I think those must be my favorite interactions of people who really have a life-changing story based on something that I did. Because I recorded what I recorded, and then I left, and that was it. And never in a million years did I think, oh, this is going to be life-changing for someone.
Right.
You know, and how could it be, you know?
And as entertainers, sometimes you don't quite feel that, but then once you hear that feedback from a fan saying that you've made a difference, you've made their life better, you've made their day better, that's one of the greatest feelings in the world.
There's nothing better, and I think that's what, as artists, I think that's what we all aspire to attain, is some sort of relevance in people's lives, you know, as opposed to just being, you know, fluff.
Right,
you know
exactly.
what I mean?
Exactly, just a showpiece. You're actually doing something, you're making a difference. So that's wonderful. Yeah. That's wonderful. Pop question I normally ask for anybody that I do. So, taking you back to your childhood.
Yeah.
It's Saturday morning.
Okay.
What cartoons you watching? What cereal you eating? Or what's your breakfast and what you're watching?
Probably eating. Weekends I was usually eating sausage links on peanut butter and jelly toast.
Ooh.
Yep.
That sounds
I do not recommend that unless you're in second grade. Or if I was eating cereal, it was probably like Apple Jacks or Lucky Charms. That was a big one in my house.
Of course.
And what was I watching? Saturday mornings I was watching Animal Farm. I was watching, I think that's what it was called, Animal Farm. Orson was the pig.
Oh, U.S. Acres.
U.S.
Garfield
Acres,
and Friends.
thank you.
My favorite Saturday morning cartoon ever.
Really?
Garfield and Friends.
Oh, wow,
Yep.
wow, that's amazing.
Yep.
I'd watch the Mario Brothers. I think it was called the Power Hour, Mario something Super Show. Thank you.
Super Show.
I don't remember any of these. And like I was watching Alvin and the Chipmunks, Gummy Bears. Gummy Bears was every Saturday. Yeah, and I was watching Turtles, but that was after school. So I was watching TMNT after school, like 3rd, 4th grade.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. The quintessential lineup right there.
Yes.
Very good. Very good. All right, I think I have one last question. One last question for you. So, as far as your experiences with Sonic now, what would you like to see? So we've got multiple games. We're getting literally a new Sonic game every year now. Yeah. We're getting the movies. We're getting a Knuckles TV show. The comic is still going strong. Yeah. Toys and merchandising everywhere. What is one thing that you want to see Sega and Sonic do the most for you? Like, what would you like to see that Sonic do that he hasn't done yet?
Oh, he hasn't done yet. You know, put on an Elvis jumpsuit and like an Elvis move for Sonic, you know?
I can imagine somebody drawing that right now.
No, I can be honest, man. I think sticking to the side scrollers is the way to go.
Thank you.
That's my
2D Sonic all the way.
Yeah. I grew up with, I had a Nintendo when I was 6 years old. So that's any side scroller just brings me right back, and I'll never. Aside from Mario Kart or something like that, side scrollers do it for me, man. Those are my favorite.
It's one of my favorite genres ever. It's one of the reasons why I love Sonic. Yeah. Pretty much any kind of side scrollers. I have not gotten a chance to play Superstars yet. I really want to.
Okay.
But yeah, that's really the way to go.
Yeah.
Hey, I feel like left out here.
Congratulations. I think. That's how it works.
Speak of belly, ladies and gentlemen.
If you can kill me secretly.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, I believe that's all the time that I have for you, Jason. I appreciate your time. Thank you. It's an honor meeting you. Tell everybody where they can find you on the internet.
You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Twitter. I'm at @real_Jason Griffith on Instagram, and I'm JGriff4 on Twitter. So that's me.
Outstanding, cool. Yeah. And of course, I think most of y'all know where to find me, at G to the Next Level, pretty much anywhere around the internet. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, help it out by leaving a like, leaving a comment, subscribe if you haven't yet, all that good stuff. And on behalf of Jason, thank you all so much, and we will see you on the next level. Take care, everybody.